Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on Storm Noah that is moving through at the moment. So we'll look through the live radar, run through the various weather warnings, have a look at the latest UKV for the precipitation temperature and wind gusts over the next few hours and the next few days in general. The storm has been named by the French Met Office, not by the British Met Office, and again I am very surprised by that considering the impacts we are seeing in places at the moment. We do have yellow warnings issued, and again I am surprised we haven't got an amber warning issued for parts of southern Wales and southwest England, as we are seeing gusts reported of upwards of 70 if not 80 miles per hour by the end of today. So really quite severe impacts, and widely we've got very gusty conditions and some very heavy torrential rain, a bit of snow in places and some thunderstorms. So as I said, I am extremely surprised we didn't see this named by the British Met Office for the impacts, especially through daylight hours, and some of the severe impacts will continue through the evening rush hour. However, it hasn't been named by the British Met Office, but it has been named by the French Met Office, so it is Storm Noah, not going by the British and Irish Met Office naming system. So we'll look at the storm, of course, in the first half of the video, and then run through the GFS, GEM, ECMWF and the ensembles, looking at the weather into the next couple of weeks, as it's turning a lot drier and a lot warmer into next week. A lot of you will be pleased to be hearing that, with temperatures likely to be getting into the 20s, perhaps even the mid-20s in some points in around a week's time, as we see a big high pressure system control our weather. Complete contrast to the very low pressure we do have at the moment. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So if you start, as I said, on the live radar, you can see Storm Noah at the moment sitting out in the Irish Sea. You can see the initial weather front for the low pressure system moved through last night. It is now across parts of Europe and Denmark. And you can see the centre of the low is just, as I said, across the Irish Sea towards Isle of Man and North Wales, and you can see the spirals around the low, again showing you the wind directions and the isobars. That's where the cloud and the showers are forming. And you can see we've still got some very heavy thundery rain appearing with this. Also, a bit of snow has been reported through parts of Wales, especially through the early hours of the morning when we still had a bit of darkness, and now across parts of northern England as well, and Scotland. That's quite cold areas getting wrapped around, and this dew points are dropping close towards freezing in areas, and temperatures are struggling in the mid to high single digits towards low-lying areas and towards higher routes down towards those low single digits, meaning the possibility of snow is there. You can see as I said, the heaviest showers really across parts of England and Wales, with this very strong gusty westerly wind. Strongest winds, as I said, at the moment across southern Wales and southwest England, but also going to see areas of very strong winds inland as well being brought in by these heavier bands. And there could be some thundery activity within these very severe bands. Where I am, I've seen a couple of these bands move through, and it really does get quite violent for a good 5 to 10 minutes as they do sweep through. Luckily, whenever we see one of these very stormy systems, the winds are so strong, it means the showers, the very blustery showers, do move through very quickly. So we don't see those really horrible conditions for all too long, but they do persist, and where they are, when they do occur, it is really, really quite horrible and violent out there. As I said, this will continue through the rest of this evening as this system moves away overnight. So as you can see, very heavy rain anywhere through England, Wales, the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland are going to be seeing some very heavy rain, with the majority of those stronger winds through parts of Wales, England and southern parts of the Republic of Ireland, as it does eventually sweep through. Now you can see, if we put on the wind gusts, we're able to have a look at the inland wind gusts on the Weather Channel. It would be a little bit better if we were able to see the wind gusts out at sea. As you'll be able to see, they are quite a bit higher, but at the moment you can see where the strongest winds are across parts of the Republic of Ireland, towards western and southern coasts, and then towards parts of southern England and southwest Wales. Southern Wales, and southwest England, even along the south coast, and even inland into parts of East Anglia, the Midlands, even to central southern England, seeing wind gusts well in excess of 50 miles per hour. Now these are the sustained winds here, and you can see that at the moment the strongest winds, as I said, across coastal areas around 40 miles per hour, probably sustained, maybe slightly higher, around 50 miles per hour sustained in a few spots, and of course gusts will be 20 or 30 miles per hour higher than that. And again, you can see inland areas still getting to these darker blues, so 20, 30 miles per hour sustained winds, really quite strong. And once again, I'm extremely surprised this wasn't named by the UK Met Office. As I said, strong winds will be heading into parts of northern Wales and already arriving in some areas, but I don't think they're going to get much stronger than what we're seeing across parts of Wales and southern England at this stage. So again, surprised the Met Office weren't naming this before the French Met Office did. But of course, that is just the categories that we have at the moment. It does look like the for this current year, or this sort of storm season, the Met Office are being much more cautious with their naming system, as we have had 4 named storms impact the UK, but all of them have been named by another European Met Office. So very interesting seeing that, and we'll continue to follow what is going to happen over the next few weeks and months, as we will likely still see some quite intense low pressure systems come through at times, and we'll see if we do get a named storm at some point this season. And if you put on the temperatures as well, not only, as I said, we got very heavy rain, we got very strong wind gusts, but it is cold out there, so that is the feel-like temperature. We don't want to put the feel-like temperature on, but as you can just see there for us, for reference, many areas is feeling close towards freezing because of the rain, wind and cloud. But the actual temperatures, you can see, are much cooler than they have been recently. You see the spots we've got a bit of sunshine, perhaps through southern Scotland, eastern Scotland, and the far east of England, where we still have, as I said, a bit of sunshine around. Temperatures could get into the double digits, but whenever we got the cloud, the rain, and those showers coming in, very strong winds as well, look at the temperatures over higher routes struggling towards the low single digits, and if not freezing, and to low-lying areas really struggling around that sort of mid to high single digit point. So really quite cold for the middle of April. Luckily, it will only prevail for another couple of days. It should slowly get warmer as we see a bit more sunshine over the coming days as the shower activity starts to reduce, but still really quite cold feel out there at the moment. And again, these are the 2 meter temperatures at 2 p.m. So yeah, it's not even like this is early in the morning or late in the evening. This is during the peak time of the day. We're seeing temperatures struggle into the double digits. Really quite interesting seeing this, just showing you how powerful sort of storm system like this can be, and how it can drastically change surface conditions, even to really quite cool, cold conditions, even towards the middle of April. Now, if you do have a look at the weather warnings, miraculously we only have yellow warnings issued for the far south coast, parts of southwest England and southern Wales. From what I'm seeing from live observations, from what I'm seeing from people reporting online, and from the latest model runs, I would expect quite a large yellow warning through parts of England and Wales, with perhaps localised amber warnings issued for southern England, southwest England and southern Wales. So if you do run through the yellow warnings that are issued, we have the one across southwest England and the far south coast of Wales from 9:30 this morning until 8 p.m. this evening, has said Storm Noah to bring strong winds, causing some disruption on Wednesday. Again, not named by the Met Office. 70 to 75 miles per hour along the north coast of Devon and Cornwall, with 50 to 60 miles per hour during the day and further inland as well. So again, very interesting seeing this not named by the UK Met. Again, their likelihood has dropped, but their impacts have increased since the last update. So again, very interesting seeing that. And again, this other warning issued further inland from 6 a.m. today until 8 p.m. this evening. And then again, high likelihood, lower end of the impact matrix. Again, 40 to 50 miles per hour, upwards of 60 miles per hour in a few spots. Again, from what I'm seeing from live data, observations, and from some of the models, I'm expecting wind gusts widely higher than this, widely 5 to 10 miles per hour higher than this. So again, I don't quite understand why we are only seeing widespread yellow warnings. At least there is a warning issued for this. But once again, the Met Office is definitely being on the side, a little bit more of a pessimistic side in terms of the strength of this system. I'd always say, in my opinion, when it comes to things like storms where winds are can be very disrupted, I'd always be on the side of caution. So if a couple of models, maybe 20 or 30% of them are showing 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, I would issue warnings for that. And in the moment, you can always downgrade them, or you can always retrospectively say that it wasn't as impactful as you'd expected. But I think that is a much better system than having something like this, where we've had yellow warnings over the last few days, saying a bit of blustery weather, and suddenly wake up this morning and it's been named by the Meteo France, and the warnings are changing. So I'd always think they should go on the side of caution, but obviously the Met Office have their own policy, and they are the professionals, so I don't really want to criticise them all too much. Just that's what I would do if I was in their situation. So, as I said, got widespread yellow warnings. Inland, we can still see 40 to 50 miles per hour. We've seen the UKV in a minute. You'll be able to see there are some very strong wind gusts forecasted at the moment as I'm recording this, and through the rest of this evening before they do start to die down around midnight. So as I said, if we do have a look at the latest UKV, have a look at the precipitation and temperature and wind gusts over the next 5 days, you can see the storm Noah moving in at the moment. Very strong winds and very heavy blustery rain moving through at the moment, and it will continue through the rest of this evening. Some very torrential rain in southern and eastern areas, very blustery, squally showers moving in. 1 minute, maybe not too bad out there, a little blustery, but nothing too bad, and then suddenly feel like a hurricane has arrived as one of these bands of precipitation move in. As I said, it should clear around midnight. Those gusts should die down and the rain should start to ease, and then the early hours of tomorrow morning could still see some rain moving in, some showers on the back edge of the low pressure system, but it should be much less blustery, and those showers will be less heavy as well as it does move through. As I said, into Friday, could see another weather front approach from the south and could give a bit of a widespread rain through the afternoon of Friday as it does move in. And again, that should clear through the early hours of Saturday. Again, a small low pressure system moving in for high pressure should start to build in. Still seeing some weather fronts try and squeeze in, but once again, they're getting slowly degraded away, losing their intensity as the high pressure does build in. And you'll start to see with the 2 metre temperatures in a minute that those temperatures are starting to build through Sunday and Monday, but they will be very much dependent on sunshine. If we don't see a lot of sunshine through those days, going to be 14 or 15 degrees, even though the upper air temperatures are climbing. If we do see some sunshine, as we'll see in a minute, some spots could be seeing through Sunday 17 or 18 degrees or even slightly higher. Now, if you look at the wind gusts, you can see early this morning, really only across parts of Southern Ireland and Scotland, but it's through this morning they've really built through southwest England, inland areas as well, with around 1 p.m, so just before I'm recording this, look at that, far southern and southwestern coastal areas, forecast wind gusts of 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts widely, peaking higher at 75 to 80 miles per hour in a few spots, and inland we're seeing those 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. So this is all about that Met Office warning. They issued a warning for southern coastal areas in southwest England for 50 to 60 mile per hour, for 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts up to 60. But from the UKV, we're seeing that even inland. So that's why I said I think there should be a blanket yellow warning, perhaps a localised amber warning for those areas where we're seeing those really strong gusts through southern Wales and southwest England. They'll just increase through the afternoon, peaking perhaps around 4 or 5 p.m. across those southern coastal areas. Not seeing 40 or 50 or even 60, we're seeing 70 plus hit quite widely. So again, maybe the UKV has been the strongest run here, but we've seen this pretty consistently from the UKV in the last couple of days, so I'm not sure why the UK Met Office hasn't at least included 60 to 70 mile per hour widely within their weather warnings. But of course, we will have to see what happens in reality through the rest of today. Through the evening, those winds should slowly die down, but could still see blustery wind speeds of up to 50 or 60 miles per hour through the evening. But if you look across parts of northern France, where it has been named, look along coast areas, really only 50, 60 miles per hour, maybe 65 or 70. So not at best as strong as we're seeing across the UK. So again, I'll repeat that I don't understand why Meteo France have deemed this named storm territory and the UK Met Office haven't, as we're seeing exactly the same impacts from this in terms of wind gusts, if not higher impacts, through parts of southern and southwestern areas. Again, very interesting seeing that, but once again, we'll have to go by what the professionals say. Through the rest of the evening, as I said, those winds will die down and into tomorrow. Still could be blustery 30 to maybe 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts through the afternoon. So still blustery, still unsettled, but nothing compared to today. And it will continue with a lot of showers out there, but again, nothing too heavy before it does start to die down into the weekend as we start to see higher pressure build in and generally lower winds. So if you have a look at the max temperatures, you can see through this afternoon, really quite cold out there, struggling into the mid to high single digits quite widely, and across the far east, look at that, 9 or 10 degrees at best. So a really quite cold day, a day you typically see in February perhaps, not into the middle of April. Really chilly out there. And overnight tonight, where we see some clearer skies, wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a frost appearing in northern and western areas. Into tomorrow, temperatures in the afternoon will rise slightly higher, maybe 9 to 11 degrees, but still pretty chilly and pretty cold. And then finally into Friday, temperatures should start to rise a bit in the afternoon, but still a cold morning. You can see into the afternoon temperatures responding a little bit better in a few spots, maybe 10 or 12 in the far west, but still inland 7 to 9 degrees through England and Wales. So perhaps slightly better, but still pretty chilly and below average. Into Saturday, those temperatures will still be cold in the morning, but in the afternoon, again, slightly higher, 13 or 14 degrees here. And into Sunday, you can see those temperatures maybe 18 or 19 degrees here in the northwest and the southeast. And if we remember back to the precipitation charts we showed a few minutes ago, that's correlating with where we're seeing a bit of sunshine. So wherever you see sunshine, could get up to 18 or 19 degrees within the next few days, but wherever we do see more cloud, may still hold those temperatures down in the mid to low teens. So if we do now have a look at the longer range, go over to the GFS, GM, ECMWF and the ensembles, looking at what they're showing over the next couple of weeks. Now you can see Storm Noah over the top of us at the moment, slowly clearing to our east, and will continue to stay under low pressure influence over the next couple of days before high pressure built in around Sunday time. We see a bit of an easterly flow, which will keep it perhaps chilly at times, but with sunshine, those temperatures will still rise to the mid to high teens, maybe 20 degrees, so generally still will be fairly warm. As we head beyond that, we do start to see high pressure wane a little bit, but still generally in control, and right towards the end of the run, maybe more of a cooler or colder easterly wind developing, but still under high pressure, so still very dry and probably quite sunny. So you can see into early next week, we do see a warm air mass initially, perhaps briefly a colder air mass for a time, but that is within the minority of runs. More of them are showing more of a southerly or southeasterly flow, so more warmer conditions there before eventually in the longer term we stay generally in average to above average air masses with plenty of sunshine, so it will feel really quite nice and warm out there. Perhaps, as I said, in the longer term, cooler air masses could drift in from the north or the east, and that could hold back the temperatures a little bit. But again, I must emphasise, it still is very dry and would still feel fairly warm with the sunshine out there, really giving warmth at the surface. Again, it would mean any cloud or a bit of rain mixing in could cool it down considerably, but we will just have to see what is in store. Definitely, this is one of the cooler runs for the higher pressure. Most have a warmer air mass in control, similar to the GM. So if we do have a look at that GM run, again, you can see Storm Noah moving through at the moment. High pressure building in towards the weekend, and you can see it does dominate with a southeasterly flow coming in, or east to southeasterly flow coming in from sort of southern Europe. That eventually does continue to hold on, and even at day 10, still a warm flow, nothing coming in from the north or the northeast. Again, if we run it back and have a look at the upper air temperatures, you can see quite warm air masses prevail around 5 to 10 degrees at 850 HPA, and that continues all the way to the end of the run, where perhaps slightly cooler air could come in, but still above average. And again, we run it back, have a look at the temperature deviation. Again, you can see all in yellows and oranges for the foreseeable future, just indicating how it is going to be average to above average under higher pressure. With sunshine, it is going to feel warm, perhaps very warm at times, where we do see some heat start to develop and sort of strengthen that surface. Where there's a possibility, we do see mid-20s. Again, all will depend on the exact wind direction, the exact air mass that will move in. And again, we'll have to look at that specifically nearer the time. The general pattern, though, is for warm and dry conditions to prevail. If you look at the ECMWF, again, you can see Storm Noah moving through at the moment. High pressure building in with a east to southeasterly flow, very warm and dry all the way to day 10. So you can see why the GFS is a little bit of an outlier in terms of pulling in cooler, slightly more unsettled air in from the northeast. As you can see, warm air builds in at the moment, or over the weekend, and then generally a southerly or southeasterly flow dominates around 5 degrees at 850 HP, up to potentially 10 degrees at times. So warm and dry. So we do finish by looking at the ensembles. These are the latest GFS ensembles, and you can see how we are slightly below average at the moment, with cool and unsettled, and you can see into the longer term we are good 4 or 5 degrees above average. Again, you can see the GFS operation run on one of the cooler run here, majority though are around 4 to 6 degrees at 850 HPA, so warm and dry, less going sort of very warm or hot, so 10 degrees and up, but still very warm and very dry, and really quite pleasant through the middle to end of April. Again, I can't say specifically what it'll be like towards the last week of April, but the general trend is still for higher pressure. Again, if we look at the 2 meter temperatures, again looking likely to get into the mid to high teens next week, and you can see some runs even getting into the low 20s there. So warm and dry. Again, we'll have to see exactly what those temperatures do have in store for us, but quite a bit warmer than what we've seen so far this year. Again, if we finish on the ECMWF, even warmer from the ECMWF ensembles here. Pretty much all ensemble members going up towards that 5 degree range, and some up toward 10 degrees or slightly higher. Again, indicating temperatures at the surface will be around that 15 to 20 degree mark widely, and slightly higher in a few spots. Once again, very warm and very dry, with minimal precipitation from around the 16th to the 22nd of April. Good 5 or 6 day stretch there, of very dry conditions, when then precipitation could increase a little bit, but once again that's in the longer term where we do have uncertainty. So it is looking really quite warm and dry next week. Huge contrast to what we're seeing at the moment, where it's very unsettled and stormy with Storm Noah moving through. So for the rest of today and into overnight hours, make sure you do stay safe out there, as those winds are peaking at the moment and will continue to peak through the rest of the afternoon, before it should start to die down around sunset, around 6, 7, 8 p.m. as it does slowly clear to our east. So as I said, make sure you stay safe out there, and I'll see you again for another video soon.